So in this video, we're going to talk about the upcoming recession. And yes, we're already in it. And I'm going to give you some of my perspective because as a business owner, I am at the forefront of all that. And today is actually a pretty hard video to make because I'm now in a spot where I need to do layoffs at my company. So a little bit of background is from you guys that, are new and whatnot. So I own a real estate company where we do real estate development and rentals, and I own a social media marketing company, right? And I used to have some pretty big clients, colleges, and all that other stuff. And for on that side of the business, with colleges and businesses, two of my biggest clients that were supporting the business with thousands, tens of thousands of dollars are now not renewing their contract because they do not have funding, they do not have the money to do that. And so when we got these clients, we had to hire people to support them, right? And now they're pulling back. And what does that mean for me? Well, that means that these people that I've hired to support them are not able to work, or we do not have enough work for them. So what does that result into? That results into layoffs because I cannot pay their salary just because they are on payroll, just because I'm a good Samaritan, right? I can't do that. The company needs to still make money. The company is still making good money, but I cannot afford to have these people on and not produce revenue or not support clients. So now I'm looking at it like, okay, this has been going on for, a little while with all these layoffs, right? And what is going on in the bigger picture? Well, when you're looking at it, and I need to do layoffs now, so does everybody else, Dell, all these other ones. And now we're looking at Disneyland, right? So when you look at Disneyland and Disneyland traffic is down, that means that these people at Disneyland are going to have some hard conversations. What's going to happen next with, Disneyland, right? Are they going to have to do layoffs? Because traffic to their stores went down. So now, why am I saying this? Is because when Dell does layoffs, all these other companies do layoffs. They're pulling back with spending, they're pulling back with marketing, they're pulling back with everything. That means that contractors for those companies are also being, they're also being dialed in. And before they had bigger budgets, bigger money to spend, and now they're not doing that. And I don't, need anything. We're still doing really well, but it's not at the same trajectory as 2 years ago. And now when we're looking at all of these crazy times where it's like, oh, there's no recession, nobody is. Well, you can call it what you want. If you don't want to call it a recession, then don't. But it is what it is. And that it is not a great economy is pretty clear. And when you're looking at all these people that are, unemployed now, are going to compete with a lot of different people with a lot of talent. What do I mean by that? Is that, now that there's so many fish in the pond, then all of a sudden you're like, hey, these are actually, hundreds of applications for one qualified jobs. And some of them are scams, some of them are old. So you need to be really aware of where you are in the job market and what kind of job you have. And so if you are in a job that is good, you need to, at any cost, make sure that you are not on the chopping block, right? And make sure that you are revenue producing. If you're not revenue producing, you are not vital to the company. If you are just a support, if you have a supportive role, then you are not that important. Yeah, I guess if you support servers and whatnot, you're still important, but how many of those do you need if you're not making them money? So this is pretty crazy times when you think about it. And yeah, layoffs hit everybody. It's not like these layoffs that are coming are just going to be it's just one sector. No, because one sector affects everything. And then since we're in the United States, hire people from all over the globe, we have manufacturing all over, it is going to throw everybody into turmoils, right? So what we do affects everybody. And you can say what you want, but we as Americans are not doing as great as we did 2 years ago. And so now, when everything is going so crazy, what do you need to do? And people tell me all the time, oh, just get your resume ready and network. Absolutely. absolutely be on LinkedIn. Follow me if you're not on LinkedIn. It's Rico Eggenberger. Have it right here. Connected me on LinkedIn. And yeah, it is time now to get out of debt, to pay off cars, to not buy new cars, to keep everything really tight, to not go out and eat and not go crazy because, yeah, I know you're going to hurt other people with reeling in the money because you're going to fire your pizza maker, you're going to fire your barista and all that. But at least you're not going to lose your house because there's article like this now that in Las Vegas foreclosure rates are going up, and they're going up across the nation because people cannot pay their mortgages anymore because, they lost their job. They moved out of selfishness and said, hey, I work remote now, so let's move to Boise. Let's move to Florida. Let's make it California tech salary. And there has been a pattern now where companies tell you, hey, you need to come back to the office. And then, first they said work from home. Then they said go back to the office. And then they did layoffs, right? So there's a clear pattern of, hey, come back to the office, you're not remote anymore, and then being fired, right? And so it is crucial that you understand where your company is at and that you see how your company is dealing with different problems. And once you're in a field where, I'm in the field of marketing and all that kind of stuff, those always get hit first, right? Because marketing is something nice to have, but isn't a necessity, right? So what you got to do is you got to be aware of where you stand. And being unaware is one of the worst spots you can be in, because not being aware of where your company stands, if you might be on a chopping block, that's going to put you back a long time. If there's writing on the wall that your department is going to be let go, you better start job searching now than when it's actually happening, because the whole, unemployment thing is going to run out pretty quick, and then you're going to be looking for 8-9 months and you can't find anything. I've been talking to Ali's community, about job searching, and there's been people in there that have been searching for 9 months to a year and can't find anything that pays decent. So yeah, it is whatever you want to call it, recession, depression, whatever you want to call it, or just not doing great. Pretty crazy. And the whole economy is evolving around consumership, right? So when you go to work and you grab a coffee and all of a sudden there's way less people, your coffee shop is going to let the baristas go. And then, he might default, and then commercial real estate's going to default and all that. And people say, oh, this ain't happening. And of course it's going to happen. What do you think? We're living in this crazy land where there's no defaults. People are losing their houses, people losing their cars. Car repos are up because they can't make the car payments. All these crazy things are going on. And I'm just here saying, this is how it's gonna be. And this is what I'm seeing. And I'm being super transparent with you guys that these big companies do not have it in the budget to spend on things that they spent on 2 years ago, right? And you see that with DEI, where they said, hey, equity, diversity, and inclusion, all this stuff that was great during, good times, now nobody cares about. Now you got to do the job, and if you're the cheapest guy, you're going to get the job. So, yeah, or they just close it down. You said, hi, you're in the final round. They close the window, says, oh, you didn't get it, or not even respond. And 2 weeks later, they re-upload their job posting, and you can apply to the same job. And there's been people that applied to the job 3 times and got interviews 3 times with the same hiring manager. So it is absolutely brutal. And if you're thinking about going to college today, you really need to think about if it's worth it in the long run. What degree you're getting, where you're getting it from, and how much is it going to cost. Because if you're going to go into $100,000 worth of debt, it is 100% not worth it. Regardless of, if you're gonna be a doctor, lawyer, something like that, or a dentist, yeah, that's fine. But if you're gonna get into debt like 60, 70, 80,000 to become a psychologist or something, it's not worth it. It's not gonna pay the bills. Or a social worker, it's not gonna pay the bills. You need to make sure that you go to a college that has cheap tuition. And all these buildings that they have, these nice libraries, hold that, that's nice, but it's not helping you with all of your student loan payments, right? So just doing all that kind of stuff isn't worth it. You need to be carrying your wallet. You better leave your wallet home now and just go out and says, I have no money, and leave the credit cards, leave the debit cards, leave everything at home, and just say, oh, I'm sorry, there's no money left, because once all this kind of settles, and I think there's going to be, this election is going to be all about the economy, because there's so many people unemployed that it's going to be probably the number one topic. And let me know if you agree with this, because so many people have been let go now. And I'm going to wonder, all these, so Dell, left, fired 20,000 people. So, right? So when you're looking at 20,000 people that have been let go, where are they going to go? Who's going to hire them? And I'm keep asking you guys, and nobody has an answer. Nobody, absolutely nobody has an answer who's going to hire these people. So now you got to figure out, what am I going to do next? Because not everybody is a top A candidate, right? Not everybody has the best skills. Not everybody has what it takes to get another six plus figure job, right? Because there's so much competitiveness now that, that breaking into tech is going to be way, way harder. And getting your job replaced is also going to be harder. So there is that level now. And what haven't talked much lately about was, once you are in it, you're not safe from it, because they might lay you off again. So you need to be performing, and you need to be not worrying about, oh, the culture's not that great. No, but it's paying the bills. So you got to be super, super thankful that you even have a job now. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. And this is not where I want to be at. This is not what I want to be seeing, but this is what we're seeing, that you got to be thankful to even have a job that pays your bills. Because unemployment, I'm telling you right now, isn't going to do anything. They're going to figure out ways how to not pay. And then they're going to say, oh, because of a technicality, you're not going to get unemployment. You wouldn't be the first, you wouldn't be the last. So you need to have, in order to not have these issues, you need to have an emergency fund, right, to do that. And some Americans, when you read the news, Americans don't even have $500 saved up for emergency fund. They're running from job to job and not have any emergency funds. And now you're like, how do I cut costs, right? That's after you have no emergency, how do I cut costs? Well, let's get rid of the car. That's probably one of the first things. Like, let's get a cheaper car. Oh shit, I bought my car during COVID. So my car is upside down about 15 to 20,000. And I see that all the time, that the car, that these people want to trade in the car for something cheaper, can't do it, because they've got a car that is worth 6, 7, 8,000 that they owe 20 grand on. Because during COVID, they were like, hey, yeah, we'll give you a car. Yeah, we'll give you that. And it's not going to cost you much. You just got to sign here, here, here. You're going to get like 12, 13, 14% interest. And we're not even going to check the value. And you're going to pay over sticker price, and bam. And that is really coming back to bite us. And so will this. So when you look back, hindsight's, 2020, right? When they say, oh, we should have never overcharged these people with cars. They should have never let all these people go either today, right? So what is going to be the cure? What is going to be the outcome? Well, people aren't going to have jobs. People aren't going to have to spend money. Unemployment's going to spike, right? And now they can fudge the numbers in a way where they can correct them. They can say, oh, these people are in and out of employment. And in 2008, it was like all at one time. And now they're stagnant, right? They have, Tesla does it this 2 months, right? Then they give them severance for a few months. Then Microsoft does them, then Google does them, and it's staggered. Not everybody does it at the same time, because if everybody did at the same time, the unemployment numbers would skyrocket, and that would raise really, really crazy flags, right? So now we're looking at, okay, trying to give the car back doesn't work, so you got to either get out a loan, but who's going to give you a loan if you're unemployed? So that's another whole issue. So now you're seeing that this isn't as easy of a problem as you guys make it to see in the comment section, where it's like, oh, we're not in a recession. No, we're not. But we are in a spot where it is we're between a rock and a hard place right now, where there's no money in circulation. People don't have it. People don't lend it. And so all these companies need to dial it back. And who's going to be screwed at the end of it? It's always the consumer. It's always the middle class business people, entrepreneurs that are trying to make it, that are going to get screwed. I'll be okay. I'll be 100% fine. I have different sources of revenue. I will be fine. I'm not that concerned. But the people that I'm going to be laying off, those are going to be the people that are going to be concerned about. And I cannot help it, because if they're telling me at a higher level that they do not have the funding, there is nothing I can do to persuade them to do it. And I cannot keep them on payroll, right? Because it's just not worth it. And once you're in a spot where you're like, hey, you got to do layoffs, you got to do this, these are not easy conversations. These are not easy conversations where you're like, hey, I need to think about, doing this, doing that. And, should I have pizza for lunch or should I have chicken wings? This is not a conversation like that. This is taking away somebody's livelihood, right? This is going to be brutal for the person that's affected by it. But you need to take the emotion out of it and say, hey, I cannot keep you on payroll just because I like you. My business or my company is not making as much anymore as it used to, and I need to do cost-cutting measures, right? And so this is a whole bigger thing than a lot of people thought, right? This is way, way bigger than just you and me, right? This is Federal Reserve, politicians, big companies, small companies, and then individual contributors, right? So, yeah, it is brutal. People getting let go left and right. So, let me know what you guys think about this. But yeah, it's not looking good. And when I tell you guys stuff like this, there's always that one person in the comment section that says, "Oh, you should just, do this or do that." It's like, huh, you think I haven't thought about that yet? But it is crazy when you think about it. It's not these clients that you have that are high paying and are, loved your product before, that says we don't have it in the budget right now, is brutal, to the company's growth, to all these other things. But then again, it's not a closed door. It's just shut for now. They said, hey, come back and we'll revisit this next quarter, where there's going to be better, when the numbers might look better, where we can have better numbers, better, when the economies might be, colleges enrollments are up and all these other things are up, then we can have it in the budget to do these things. But we cannot spend money that isn't 100% for business right now. So yeah, it is crazy, crazy times. I hope you guys are doing well. You guys got to prepare. You guys got to prepare for whatever is coming. Man, there is no job is safe now. There is just nothing. And I have people in the comment section saying that there is no job that's 100% safe. That was it for this video. Love talking to you guys. Please like and follow. But yeah, more layoffs will be coming in Q2. I'll tell you that. More layoffs are going to be coming. If interest rates aren't going to come down a little bit, we're going to see a bloodbath. There's going to be even more people going to be leaving the door, going to be out. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you think about all this.